Hi everybody, I'm Suni. Welcome for 15-minute practice of calming, mindfulness, meditation. Today we're going to explore self-compassion and mindfulness, or mindful kindness, if you will. So have a seat, sit down. Take a deep breath with me, breathing in, pausing, and letting the air back out. As we work together, breathe at your normal rate, but breathe a little more deeply, allowing chest and belly to expand. And when you exhale, just let go. Our goal in mindfulness is to pay attention to this moment and to remind ourselves that in this moment, we're okay. So as you settle into your seated posture, allowing your eyes to drift closed, allow your body to drift to the right and the left a little bit, to forward and backward, because what I'd like you to do is find kind of a middle balancing point where you feel most comfortable. Allow your head to roll gently side to side, forward and back a bit, to get it relaxed and in a nice neutral position. Same with shoulders, raising them up, letting them fall. Settle into a relaxed, comfortable posture. Breathing in, pausing and letting the air back out. Breathing in what you need, calm, peace. And exhaling that which you do not need. I'm not assuming that when you breathe out worry, it's all gone. But this is a process of edging yourself towards this moment and reminding yourself in this moment, you're okay. In our practice today, I'd like us to explore self-compassion. And to explore self-compassion is a challenge for some. So we'll start the practice with exploring compassion for another. And then we'll turn the scope on ourselves. So in this seated position, comfortably, relaxed, grounded, imagine in your mind that you're walking down the street. You could be holding your smartphone. And you notice for some reason your attention is drawn to your left and you see a woman seated in a doorway of a building. She has no sign on her. She has not called your attention to her. But you can tell from the way she's dressed and the sad look on her face that you wonder if she could be homeless. The first step in bringing up your own compassion is to take notice. The second step in raising compassion is to determine if there's suffering going on. So as you glanced at this woman and she appeared to be tattered and dirty and tired, and you thought she might be homeless, then yes, there's suffering. Imagining ourselves in someone else's shoes with no place to stay and no source of food. Very powerful suffering, I might suggest. The third step in compassion, after we notice and we determine if there's suffering, is to remind ourselves that this woman's suffering is not deserved. I understand there are contributing factors to homelessness, but homelessness in our society today is a very easy thing to have happen to someone, to anyone. So homelessness is not her fault. She is not to blame for her situation. It simply is a fact of a life in this world today. So we noticed, we determined if there was suffering. We reminded ourselves that the suffering was not deserved, but just part of the flow of life. And then the fourth step in compassion is to choose to take action. You might smile at her or wave to her. You might engage in conversation with her. You may offer her money or food. But that's how the process of compassion can work. Now, release that imaginary scenario of the woman in the street and turn your attention into yourself. Just as in compassion, there are 4 steps, in self-compassion, the same 4 steps can apply. So a common practice in mindfulness is to do a check-in. So you turn your attention within and take notice of yourself. How are you feeling? How's your body? How are your emotions? Second level is determining if you are suffering. Are you worrying too much? And when we're looking at our own selves in meditation, we are taking the role of the observer. We can note, like a reporter might note, that we're worried. We don't have to throw ourselves full force into the worry. We can step back a bit and just note, yeah, I've been worried a lot lately. I've been feeling more anxious. So those things are suffering. And at the third step, we remind ourselves that we are not suffering through any fault of our own. We're not being punished. We're not feeling anxious because something's wrong with us. Anxiety and fear and worry are just part of life. In any given time, there are good times and there are hard times. There is lightness and dark, yin and yang, inhaling and exhaling. So tough times come in life to all of us, and they also pass. So at this step, we remind ourselves that you are not suffering because of a punishment or because you are somehow flawed. Suffering is just part of life. And then at step 4, you consider how you might comfort yourself. So breathe in deeply, taking a look within. Just checking in with how you are as an observer or reporter. Determining what's going on in your life right now that is causing you pain or suffering. And now we'll talk a little bit about how you might comfort yourself. I talked to a friend the other night who explained to me that he was feeling a lot of pain because he missed work where he could hug people and pat them on the back, and he also could be hugged and affirmed physically that way. And he missed that a lot, and I was reminded of this practice. So we're going to go through an exercise now that's called supportive touch. So still with your eyes closed, I want you just to breathe in deeply again, pause and let the air out. And now I just want you to look at your body physically in your mind's eye and just see how you feel. You feel relatively relaxed, I hope, right now. And now take both of your hands up in front of you and make fists, really strong fists, and hold them for a minute. And see how assuming this posture changes how you feel. Some people feel empowered by this posture, and others feel like they're being threatened. So release those hands now into an open palm, palms up. This gesture or this posture is often associated with welcoming or receiving. See how this posture makes you feel. And now take one hand up to your heart and hold it against the center of your chest. And just see how you feel. Feeling the warmth of your skin, feeling your chest rise on the inhale. You might even be able to feel your heart beating. See how this makes you feel. And then bring the other hand up so that both hands are resting on the center of your chest. And see how this makes you feel. Many people are comforted by this gesture, but some are not. So if you feel comforted by this, take note. And if you do not, allow your hands to fall back to your lap. And take note. Now take both hands up to your face and kind of cup your chin in your hands with your fingers extended up the sides of your cheeks. See how this gesture makes you feel. This always makes me think of my grandma. See how that makes you feel, and then release. Now try stroking your forearms from elbow to fingertips. One arm, and then reach over and do the other arm. Stroking down, releasing stress. See how this makes you feel. And now reach up with both hands and grab your upper arms. Give yourself a little hug. See how this makes you feel. Maybe pat your upper arms a little bit. People who know me know I do this one a lot. I walk around like this a lot and often will audibly say, I'm okay, it's okay, I'm okay. And now let your arms release and put your hands, both hands on your abdomen. In Qigong, this is the lower Dantian. This is considered an energy center of the body in Chinese medicine. Just see how resting your hands down here feels. And now for the final posture we're trying, I'd like you to hold one of your own hands in the other. So you're holding hands with yourself. And as an observer, just note how this makes you feel. Now release your hands if you'd like and run through some of those things we've just done and try to determine which of those postures made you feel the best. And we'll try it in a minute. You don't have to sign on for this one posture for the rest of your life, just for now. But notice as you're pondering that some of these things you can do in public. I pat myself and give myself a little hug in front of people all the time. You can put your hand and pat your chest without being really very noticed. You can stroke your forearms. You can hold your hand under the table at a business meeting when you start feeling anxious. So once you have a posture in mind that you found somewhat comforting, we're going to go through that scenario again of exploring self-compassion. Taking a deep breath and pause and let the air back out. Call to mind something that happened recently that was a little disturbing to you. Not the most disturbing thing in your life. Something that bothered you, made you a little irritated, made you a little cranky. Call that experience to mind. You're noticing it. Step 1. 2, determining if it was painful. Now remember, as the observer or the reporter, you're noticing if there was suffering involved. We don't grab it and say, I felt. No. Let go, step back. We're not re-experiencing it. We're simply reporting on that experience. And now we remind ourselves that that experience didn't happen because of you. Things just happen. People do things and they don't think, and we get upset. It's just part of life. Relax into the fact that things happen that are upsetting that don't have to be blamed on you or anyone. It's just part of life. And now for the step 4 is take that comforting posture that we just explored and assume that posture. Try a few of them if you want. And while you're exploring how to physically comfort yourself in this way, If this is hard for you, imagine a friend just came to you and told you about this same experience happening to them, this one you called to mind, and they told you that it upset them. What would you say to them? You would say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. And you might hug them or pat them on the back. You're simply turning that emotion, which you are perfectly capable of, turning it towards yourself and comforting yourself. Breathing in and breathing out, offering yourself some physical reassurance, patting your own back, if you will. Because, my friends, bottom line is no one else is responsible for making you feel better but you. And that's not a sad thing. No one else can possibly even be aware of everything that's going on with you. Nobody's around you 24/7 to be able to hold you and make it all go away. But you are there. You're always there for you. And you can pause and notice what's going on, and you can offer yourself comfort in a moment's time. So, if your eyes were closed, let them drift gently back open. Breathe in deeply, pause, and let the air back out. I thank you for joining me for this practice of self-compassion. I hope you'll practice it as needed. And in these trying times, we can all need this a lot. So take good care of yourselves. Thanks for stopping by. The kindness and wisdom in me sees the kindness and wisdom in you. I know that these trying times will pass, and I'm visualizing nothing but the best for all of us in the future. Take care.